Okay, I'll call the meeting to order of October 4th, Wareham Finance Committee.
14th.
PM, we're on Zoom. And may I ask the clerk to call the roll, please?
Bernie Pigeon, Dave Herb,
Here.
Stuart Novick,
Here.
Tom Worthen,
Here.
Jody Smith,
Here.
Pat Rumney. Pat, you
She
here?
has signed on, but as I said, she has difficulties bringing in the audio video.
Okay, and Glenn Lawrence.
I am here.
Well, we have 8 out of 9, Bernie.
Very good. Dominic's having problems with his computer. I spoke to him earlier in the week, and he apparently has two computers. One he gets email on, and the other he does everything else on. And someone had written the code for him to click on to sign on to Zoom, and he misplaced it. So we're gonna have to work on him. But I stopped by Town Hall today and talked with Patty. Patty Neely in Derek's office has been assigned the responsibility of doing our minutes. And so I gave her the template that Kelly had used, as well as a template for our agenda and the like. And she's probably going to pull up the archive of our meeting, which WCTV maintains, and do the minutes from that. Cassandra in the selectman's office does the same thing for minutes. And I said, as long as she records everything, you can paraphrase as much, of course. Kelly, of course, not only did she get a DVD of the meeting when she left from Jonathan, she could also do shorthand. So she was able to get not all of our conversation. We do ramble on from time to time, but she was able to get the gist of it and then paraphrase from her notes as well as from the DVD. So that should be taken care of. As far as our report is concerned, it's pretty much complete. It essentially, I was trying to get it all into the Word document, but then there was difficulties, margins were different, et cetera. And essentially, I just take it down and hand it over to Staples. It's a printed document, and they print it out. So with the report, all I do is just make sure there's a blank page with a number on it. And then when I print it out, I just slip in the map or whatever that is going to be included and take it down to Staples. Of course, now we apparently have a great deal of time to do that. But the document itself, our report, pretty much all together. The only things really missing are some of the votes, and we'll review some of those this evening and probably won't vote. But anyway, to move on to the agenda, and this first one is to review the Articles 1 through 3 and also Article 5. Article 5 is the unions. Last night at the selectmen's meetings, Derek answered the question as to what information he had on those three, and he does not. Judy's been working on closing the books, and we're waiting for, of course, when that, by closing the books, Department of Revenue is accepting and issuing their certified free cash. And then we can go forward with the first three articles, and the union contracts, essentially, the monies are already in the budget, but we just have the approval of contracts. They did not indicate at what level or what point the contracts are there. These are the last two contracts. They're out of sync with the other 9 contracts I believe we have. And that's the only reason they are coming up separate from the others. And we have the good fortune also with respect to the other contracts to have them in place and ongoing, so that we are currently in FY21 spending money on projected revenues and the like, and the state has not finished their budget for FY21. And of course, we get monies from their budget, so it's kind of up in the air in that regard. The projection for the revenues from the state budgets was extremely conservative. They have made a commitment to Chapter 70 to level fund it at what we were last year or previous year. And the revenue we had projected where it was 1.2 mil less than what we got from Chapter 70. So we will be getting extra monies from that. But as I said, we've already appropriated monies and the school committee was level funded and as if we were getting the same amount as Chapter 70. However, in our projection of Chapter 70, we had 12 plus million. And that meant we had to find 1.2 million within municipal budget somewhere so that we could level fund the schools. And so I'm not sure how that's going to be handled, but that all that money will come in and go to free cash. The difficulty in addition is that we are currently going into the planning for FY22. School department, if you, from your mail, we'll cover that later, is starting their budget. They must have their budget by January 5th, I believe they have to turn it over to us. And that means it's very early in their process because now we go through the process with the municipal side in the projections of revenues and the like. So that's going to be difficult. I was reading the paper as well as the MMA reports, and they are even more pessimistic as to the revenues, state revenues, than they were 3 months ago. They're upwards of I can't remember how much they had initially projected, but they added another $1 billion to it. And so that doesn't help us. Of course, our own revenues are going to be down significantly. We're currently waiting for year to date. Let's see, we've been July, August, September. We should have year to date for the first quarter for revenues. And also I'm waiting on when Judy finishes the closeout of the books, we'll have the FY20 closeout revenues. And I do anticipate, let's say, a lot of pain for the FY22 projections as we level funded the schools for 21. And I doubt very much if we're going to be able to level fund them 2 years in a row. It is pure speculation. Being pessimistic, I think, is a wise move because at least it can only be better than. But unfortunately, that's what it is. And with respect to the union contracts, they've all been settled, so we won't be going into any negotiations or have the new contracts having to be included in the projected budget for FY22. That's the only bright light as far as the contracts are concerned. Are there any questions? No, they go on. The next one is the recycling fee. They covered that at the selectmen's meeting last night. There are two factors to this fee. One is the CMAS contract, that is to say, directly with CMAS to dump our trash. Second is with a hauler or a curbside pickup. And that's another contract that has to be settled. When they know both contracts, they will be able to establish a fee. The CMAS contract, the selectmen have voted to allow Derek to go forward with that discussion, negotiation, and the signing of it. The preliminary information is that it's very attractive in terms of cost per ton. It's projected to well over $100 in some cases. This one is 75 to 85 a ton right now, projected, and that seems very reasonable. Patrick spoke up that he's familiar with some other areas in his big line of work, and that is extremely reasonable in terms of cost per ton. As far as the cost of the pickup, curbside pickup and all, he didn't relay any figures to that. He's currently in discussions with two or three haulers. They're narrowing it down, of course. There's one or two that currently are the best ones in terms of the attractiveness of their proposals. And hopefully that'll be resolved shortly. We don't have much time left because it takes time for the hauler implement his routes, his trucks, and it's necessary for that. And the distribution of containers and how we will, it's both curbside and transfer station. They're not going bags, and true of that. I think they had one option to consider bags, but the curbside and the transfer station seems to be the most efficient and cleanest of the whole operation. Any questions about that?
I'm just gonna make a comment. I heard somebody say instead of paying for bags, they have a punch card they use. I found that pretty attractive. You know, you go and you have a bag and they punch it and you might have 9 and you go buy another card instead of buying bags and all, you know. And yeah, I don't know if you've heard different numbers, but right now, not counting the odds and ends they might have to pick up, it's gonna be about $325, you know, for both.
Of course,
you know.
I had curbside pickup when I was in Bridgewater, and when Jody and I, well, Jody is no longer in Stoughton, it was also curbside pickup, but that was municipal run. And you have a criteria which you're allowed to put in. And there's also, if you have bulk items, you have to call and make arrangements, and that's an extra fee. Like to pick up a couch, a dishwasher, or whatever that you might be wanting to dispose of. They will do that. But that whole, it's quite well organized. You know, this is not anything new to them. As I said, was in Stoughton in the early 70s, and they had already done municipal curbside pickup. So it's the operation is nothing new.
Yeah, and I can tell you, when I was in Stoughton, and I've been down here 3 or 4 years, I was paying $135 a quarter. So you can do the math. You know, it was curbside pickup every week, recyclables every other week, but they took everything. You put it out on the curb, it went away.
Yes. There's still a criteria though, and the difficulty with CMAS is, as I recall, the trucks would back in, they dump it on a large floor, a larger area.
Mhm.
Front end loaders begin pushing it into the pit for burning. But in that process, they spread it out and they take a look at it and they'll find what's in it. And they, as we hear the booms from once in a while, they burn almost anything. But the danger is if you abuse their flexibility often enough, they will send the trucks right back.
Yeah.
And you'll have to figure out what to do with them and dump it elsewhere, which is much more expensive.
I can tell you, Stoughton, they actually turned packers away and they had to bring them back because Stoughton brought down the CMAS.
Yes.
And they'd have to bring it packers and dump the whole thing in the yard and go through with a bobcat and find out what's not supposed to be in there. I don't know how they examine a truck like that packed full of trash, but they have ways of finding out. I'm not sure how, but they, on more than one occasion, I saw packers dumped in the, you know, in the DPW yard, and they're trying to find out what's in there.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to pay for that.
Yeah. Former superintendent in Stoughton, Larry Barrett, he was rough on that. And he'd reached a point, he had not an arrangement necessarily, but they had examined the trash coming from Stoughton frequently enough that they allowed him just to drive in and dump it because they knew how strict he was and his guys were examining the trash. Of course, in those days, they were loading the hoppers in the back of the truck by hand. And the latest one is they don't even see what's in there. They just grab it with a claw and dump it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, moving on to the exciting story of trash pickup. Regarding the town charter, it's now available on town website if one can find it, with all the crossouts. It has the the proposed document and the old document as it's crossed out. So it's the charter in its entirety, inclusive of the corrections in red. Now we can go through that. David and I have gone through it, and we've already talked to Judy Whiteside, and there's some errors in it. There's some capitalization that was missing, and they're still referring to the selectmen as the Board of Selectmen in a couple places. And supposedly in the previous article, they were to be changed to Select Board. And so we went back and forth with Judy, and she knows they're aware there. And so she's gone back through and checked it again. And I'm not sure. Now, David and I have been on this, I know. I think we were on the third version, David, something like that.
I believe so, yes. Judy,
It's worth a medal.
It's on very, it's a work in progress, so to speak. What they did, there was one person, Holly, I believe is her first name, and she went through and retyped the entire document. And in so doing, she rewrote, and by rewrote, I don't mean changed, but rewrote the paragraphs so they were in better English and much easier to understand. The intent was not changed, but still it was an enormous amount of work. And when you consider it comes down to some 40 plus pages to begin with, that you're bound to have a few oversights and checks in it. But as far as the sections are concerned, the assessors have approved their change relevant to the charter. I believe, David, is capital planning got another meeting coming up?
capital planning has a meeting coming up later tomorrow.
Yes. Okay, Jim told me that tomorrow you'll be voting on the approval of the changes indicated in the updated charter, as well as sewer is going to be voting on the changes that are in charter that applies to them also. The selectmen have already voted on the changes that affect them, as well as one or two others. As you noted in the chart, they have cast their votes as far as their approval on each section, but I think that's because they're the reigning board, whereas the other groups, though, their approval is more pertinent because it affects them directly and they have a better idea of what the implication of language is. And let's see, so you have some free time, download. The other one, I think it's 47 pages. If you have an interest in doing that, I guess David and I like to be punished. Let's see, Article 5. Well, I got that on the article that was the union contracts. And the final review of recommendations. Of all the recommendations we've made thus far, are there any Dominic, welcome. Is there anyone who would like to reconsider or even rediscuss some of these issues? Now, we will obviously have another opportunity, and I'm just asking now because everything is relatively fresh in our minds of what has taken place thus far.
I'd like
No,
to,
I'm good to go.
Tom?
the nip bottle thing.
Yes.
Well, I'm not saying that nip bottles are great and they're not a trash hazard, but I think it's unfair to the retailers in town to take that away from them when all of the neighborhood or our neighborhoods can sell them. And secondly, anybody driving through town can throw one out. So we don't know whether it's from somebody from Bridgewater or from Wareham or anything else. So it's not necessarily going to reduce the trash. And in the current environment, I would try to keep my hands off anything that was hurting any retail business, even though I'm sure the liquor stores are doing quite well. So I would recommend that we go through that again and turn it down.
Yeah. Dominic, you want to say something?
Sure. Can everyone hear me? Am I okay?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you're good.
I think the same thing, if you ban them, the same thing's going to happen like with the menthol cigarettes. The states around us are just going to sell more. People are going to bring them in. So unless it's a statewide thing, like you said, they're only going to go to the next town and buy them.
And buy something else at the same time.
Exactly. Or maybe they'll drink more and they'll buy a half a pint. Maybe we'll start seeing hot pints laying around the street. I don't know. I'm not a big drinker, so, you know, I don't know what to say, but they're going to drink. They're going to drink.
Now, if I recall another comment in relative to this subject when it was discussed, is that the liquor stores in the other communities where this has been passed had unanimously opposed it. Obviously, it's their revenue. I'm not sure how much margin they have on a nip bottle, but judging from the quantity that the Wareham cleanup organization had picked up in the bag that they had filled just of nip bottles, there's, whether it's sold in town or out of town, there's a significant number of are sold. That's a lot of dollars going into the cash registers of these local liquor stores. So I can understand their opposition to it. There wasn't any, when Mary Bruce was before the selectmen and before us, she wasn't able to produce any data that indicated how much was actually sold within the community and either how much we receive in taxes or whatever. Stuart, did you want to say something?
No.
Okay.
No.
So, Tom, if you'd like, I'll entertain a motion to reconsider.
I would like a motion to reconsider the ban of nip bottles.
May I have a second,
Number
please?
25.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to reconsider. Gary, would you take the roll, please?
Okay, this is to reconsider. Bernie,
Yes.
Dave,
Wait a minute. What, explain to me what we're voting. I mean, what does yes mean?
We're going to reconsider the vote that we took.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's all.
Yeah.
It's not the substance of the vote. It's,
No.
no.
okay.
Okay, okay, start again. Bernie,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Stuart,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Dom,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
and Pat. Are you with us or not? So we'll just say 800 to reconsider.
Okay, does anyone want to make any statement on this?
Yeah, I didn't hear Mary's presentation, but I was one of the no votes. As it was already stated, I mean, I think in this, maybe at another time in a different place, I'd vote yes. But we gotta be doing all we can to help the businesses right now. I mean, businesses are hurting. And that was one of the reasons I voted against it. Another reason is, I mean, I know two friends personally that go out of state for their menthol cigarettes. It's just what they want and what they want to buy. And that was another reason. And this is kind of on a personal note. I lived in Stoughton. I lived right on Route 27, which is an extremely busy street between Stoughton Center and Brockton. And I picked up trash out of there all the time, a lot of trash. I had an empty lot right next to me in my own personal yard. I did pick up nip bottles, but I also couldn't tell you, I had a McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, and Burger King within 2 miles, 2 package stores within a half a mile. And the biggest problem with Dunkin' Donuts cups, Burger King cups, wrappers and bags, McDonald's, half pints, even fifths. Nips were not, it's really not funny. You think somebody's driving down the street drinking out of a big bottle like that. Nips, there were some, but they were certainly not the big driver of my trash that I did. I picked up a lot of trash. I picked up a couple days every weekend. But the biggest thing is I'm thinking of the businesses. I think these businesses need all the help that they can be given at this time. Maybe 2 years from now, 5 years from now, God willing, if this came forward, I might say, you know what, everybody's economy's up and good and running good. It's might be something else to look at. But right now, I just can't bring myself personally to go against a business. And I don't know how much they make off of them. It's an impulse buy, more or less. They were in there getting a 6-pack to take home and figure they'll have a nip or whatever. I don't know what they do, but
No, these people are dedicated buyers.
Of nips?
The
Oh,
younger
yeah.
crowd.
Oh,
younger
okay. I wish I was a younger guy and knew that. But, you know, I just think these businesses, it's really a tough time and, you know.
I think it's a good point.
And one thing I was thinking of as you were mentioning the size of the containers, the pints and the fifths that you were picking up, Jody, if they're caught DUI with an open container,
Yeah.
an additional charge.
Oh, yeah. And I'll add too, I also picked up syringes. I pick up needles out there too. I was on a corner lot on the side of the road there. I picked them up out there all the time. So there's a lot more to the trash out there than just nip bottles.
I don't think you want to pick up any more needles.
Yeah.
No, I had the things you see in the grabbers. I didn't never handle the thing, but yeah, it's.
You just stick with returnables so you can enhance your retirement.
You laugh, but there weren't always many returnables out there. I mean, I wasn't gonna make money off. I didn't save them anyways, but it's just, I just think there's a lot of trash out there. I'm not disputing that one bit, but I don't think nips are.
Well, consider how many returnables does it take to finance a nip? 20 bottles and you get a nip?
Well, I have no idea what a nip costs. I mean,
For a buck.
A buck?
Rumor, I've been told.
Depends on the top shelf is a little more, but your average is $1. The kids like it. You buy them. They call it a sleeve, which is a 10-pack.
Of nips?
That's
Why would you do that?
I get a young kid, and
Buy a
what
fifth.
I tell you, that's.
Oh, we're knowing more about Dominic than he wants.
Listen, excuse me, Bernie, but I have to run over to the planning board meeting. I have a piece of property up.
Okay.
I'm going to come right back.
Or give me 1 minute and we'll take a vote on this issue.
I'll vote on this. Yes.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve, please?
I'll make
So
that
moved.
motion.
It's a motion to,
Recommend.
it's just a motion to vote. Yeah, the approval.
The motion to recommend or not? Correct. It has to be a positive motion
I
and
got you.
the votes will be negative. Okay. I've had a motion.
So hold on, just to make sure this is clear in my mind.
Yes.
So if we say yes, in this instance, we're agreeing with the article to instate a ban on nips. But
Correct.
if we say no, then we're proposing the opposite.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, fine. Just wanted to make sure. Thanks.
I have a motion. Did I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Jerry, would you take the roll, please?
Okay,
Aye.
Don, we'll start with you.
No.
Okay, Bernie,
No.
Dave,
Yes.
Stuart,
No.
Tom,
No,
Jody,
No.
Glenn,
No.
myself, no. So that would be 170, I
Correct.
believe. 170.
Excellent. Thank you.
thanks.
Dominic,
You're going to the ZBA, Dom.
All right. I'll be back. Probably only be 20 minutes, but I'll be back.
if we, we may not be here. Okay.
Hopefully I'm eating supper.
Maybe okay.
Okay. Is there any other issue on the warrant that you may want to reconsider? The only ones we do not have a vote on, and primarily because lack of information, as I said, 1 through 3, which is capital plan, free cash, and prior year bills. Then 5, which is the contracts. And then we go down to the solid waste recycling fee. And we approve the solid waste recycling account, which is 1. And everything else is taken care of.
And I'm going to come back and do this and I'll see you.
Is there any other issues while I move on?
Okay.
I ask one quick question, and
Yes.
I'm not sure you can answer this. On the 26th of October, she's going to convene town meeting.
Okay. All
Correct.
right. You
And
okay?
then she's going to postpone it for 30 days.
Oh, excuse me, no. No, she doesn't have to.
Doesn't have
You
to.
can- No, she can, in the CARES Act, the state level, it gives her the ability to postpone the meeting. So she doesn't have to, I don't believe, she does not have to convene the meeting and then adjourn it.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine. But
Yeah.
my question is, it was originally scheduled for the 26th.
Yes.
Nothing can be changed or added after that point, correct?
correct. Well, nothing.
To the town warrant.
When the warrant closed a month ago is the last opportunity to do any changes.
But recommendations, nothing, it's a done
Well,
deal.
we can change our recommendation, of course, at any time, but the warrant itself, the article itself
Yep.
cannot be added to or changed in any way. It is as it is
Can they be amended?
on the floor of town meeting.
Okay, thank you.
It cannot be added to. As an example, the revolving fund for the trash, they would rather it go up to, it's 2.5 million in the article. They rather it would be 3, maybe more than 3. But because it's 2.5, it cannot be expanded. The articles on, according to the rules, can only be reduced. They cannot be expanded.
Thank you.
She's, let's see, she is required to identify a location of the meeting in the notice within 3 days of the announcement of the declaration of recess and continuance. She's been talking with the superintendent and with Scott, the principal of the high school. And there apparently is some teacher days available in which, because of some of the issues on the warrant, we could go 2 days. So she's trying to accommodate that need. And that if we go into the close to Christmas, during the vacation season, and that may be the time frame of the town meeting, and that will allow us, because of, I'm not sure if they're going to call it vacation or what, the opportunity to have it 2 nights there without having to go through an extensive sanitation in between. So there's going to have to be sanitized for the children to return anyway, if we use it only 1 night, but this would give us possibly the opportunity to go 2 nights. The issue with the charter changes, of course, they will be down with the detailed minutia on that. The change in the zoning for the downtown district, as well as the master plan. Although the master plan, no one even mentions it anymore. Any other concerns or questions, gentlemen? Reschedule, okay, I sent you a copy of the bill from Crown Awards for the gift that we gave to Kelly. I'm asking only for reimbursement for the gift itself. And I think down the lower right-hand corner, it's about $8 per person. The gavel that's also on the invoice, I just wanted to personally give that to the town finance committee. It has even the engraving around it that it says the Wareham Finance Committee, so it'll belong to the committee. And
Okay, why don't we pay the total? What's the total?
Yeah. Are you going to use it?
the gavel?
Yeah.
Well, indeed, when begin meeting live, we'll use the gavel.
Well, so we'll pay for the gavel.
We'll pay the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's up to you. You appreciate, but really, it's when I was the last 2 towns I was with, and I was privileged to serve as chair. We had a gavel, and of course, I would bang the thing once a night and everything. But it was just a formality, a little formal thing, and not to say no other committee in town has one.
Well, where is it?
Oh no, I'm not going to get out and distribute. It looks like a gavel.
Okay.
Makes noise like a gavel.
What's the total? If you put the gavel together with the gift, $8 plus what?
Okay, the total bill was $97.90.
So if he give you $11,
Yeah, that covers it all.
okay. Done. For
Yeah,
me.
how do you want us to get this to you?
The next time we meet live.
Well, that could be in
Brian,
2023, you know.
That's not even funny.
One of the issues that Claire and I discussed when she was planning having the meeting, or reasons why she should postpone it, Wareham has gone to yellow in the COVID measures. And that means we were white before and suddenly we've ticked up. And the possibility, if you get a group together, such as for town meeting and the number of issues that are on, and then someone is tracked back to that meeting, it would be rather embarrassing to say, oh, you could have done it in a different way or whatever. But it's better, it's cleaner this way, and hopefully things will improve by the time we get to Christmas. Next one is on the agenda on the anticipated items. Today I was over checking the mail and we received an invite, and I've sent a copy it out to everyone. By the way, you also have a copy of the Brown Book bill. They're having their workshop for their budget. The first one is November 3rd, starts at 8:30 a.m. And they will provide a Zoom link for Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee members. It's the November 3rd to start their budget workshop. And this is the one similar to the one we go through when we meet with all the department heads. They actually do a budget presentation on November 19th. And that's at a school committee meeting. And their budget hearing that they're required by charter to hold in the presentation to the selectmen is on. And the members of the Finance Committee, we can attend all of them. Hello, Alan. We can attend all of those presentations. I believe they will be the November 3rd, probably not, but the November 19th and December 3rd will be televised. And so if you are unavailable, you can pick them up off the archive at WCTV. It's going to be rather difficult because they are preparing their FY22 budget, and under current circumstances, as I mentioned earlier, the state has yet to even award their FY29 budget. And the projections from the other tax organizations, the MMA, et cetera, is that the anticipated shortfall, as I commented earlier, is even greater than they anticipated 4 to 5 months ago.
Baker released his recommendations today.
Correct.
And the school funding went up a bit, about $2 million.
$100,000.
Huh? How much was it?
Just over 100,000.
Yeah.
And I think the town went down 60,000.
Unanticipated.
What they said today was basically they're using, I think, $1.3 billion of their stabilization funds. And they didn't announce any kind of cuts at all for the 21 budget. And they're spending more money with this 1.3 billion to basically, they're level funding, just so you understand. They're not giving us really more. The question is, there's got to be some cuts somewhere, but they didn't say anything. They also said there'd be no tax increases for 21. 22 is where we're going to see all that.
And the legislature 3 to 4 months ago had committed to the level funding initially of Chapter 70. So we had 13.3 we had projected on our own level 1.2. So if they've increased it by 100,000, so it's 1.4, then reduce the unanticipated funds from the state by 60,000, we have netted 40,000, that's all, from what we have projected. Now, that money's coming down to us and it's going to be going out into free cash because it's unallocated based on the budget of our town meeting. Unless there's, let's see, until they have a budget accepted by the legislature, we can't count that monies. So we haven't received that monies. So it will not be involved in our free cash.
Yeah, the school budget is 13, the chapter 70 was 13,381 as of today now. Then with the tuition reimbursement and the offset going the other way, the school's going to get $14,082,510. Last year, they got $979,399. The town's getting $2,636,438. And last year, they got $2,614,456. But basically, on the original budget that went through, it looks as if the school picked up about $21,000 from the governor's original 21 budget, and the town lost about $60,000.
So it's, we're neither ahead or behind.
So overall, we're technically we're behind a little bit from the original 21 budget.
The big issue is in 22 getting paid back for the school.
Well, the 22, the meeting, I don't know if anybody listened to the selectmen's meeting on Tuesday, but I announced at the meeting because I had a meeting with MMA for the year end for their policies for the coming year. And they're supporting basically increasing the income tax for at least a few years, a set time frame, but definitely increasing income tax for the state. Also, the millionaire's tax, they're going to support that as well. They announced at that meeting, we talked about it, and they expect that the towns are going to have to cut services. There'll be layoffs. Those towns that can get Proposition 2.5 passed are going to probably do that as well. And the other wonderful thing is they're going to have to most likely, we have what we call a 2.5 max tax levy, 2.5%. Usually most cities and towns are under that. They leave a little bit there just in case they ever need it. And they're expecting everybody to have to bounce all the way up to 2.5 to max out the levy. So it's right now, 2022 does not look really good at all. I feel bad for the schools because I think they really made an error when they took that $500,000 and, put it back into the school operating costs rather than put it aside. And that's one of the reasons why I was against the McKinney-Vento money going anywhere. Because what happens in 2022, if they cut, the McKinney-Vento reimbursement money, they're not going to have enough money to transport the kids. So they've got to understand they need to be conservative with their monies right now.
Especially when they're starting their 22 budget, and in that budget, they also have to include the opening of the new school, the new elementary school.
I really don't want to think about that right now because, they have $90 million they can borrow. They're only going to get reimbursed, somewhere around $50 million out of that. And I have a feeling they'll have to probably borrow right up to the 90 to outfit the school and get it going. But none of that money is allowed to be used for operating costs.
No, well, the amount projected thus far with it's $11 million less than we anticipated, covers everything, furniture and all, like landscaping, et cetera.
Let's see when we get to the end of it. There's always change orders as we go through, as we all know.
I'm not sure David and I would approve of those change orders.
How is the building going along? I mean, how are they doing versus?
They're doing fine.
They're doing fantastic.
Yeah, they're doing a great job.
Good
At
deal.
our meetings that we've held, and David can reiterate and do his own, but the overall bid from Bacon came in significantly less.
Yep.
We saved $1 million, and then the MSBA allowed us to retain the $11 million and that they didn't reduce our reimbursement of the products. And so that was a benefit to us greatly because so that, well, we figure out on the savings of about 11 million. That is to say, we will borrow 11 million less at this point in time. It doesn't look like there'll be any real change orders. The way the building's going, my gosh, it's like a house afire up there.
Yeah,
Let's see, I think by now every roof should have been sealed so that they can work inside. And you were, I believe, selectmen gave a permit short for propane up there so they could begin heating the inside of the building.
Yep.
To allow for their construction. So that unit, it may not necessarily be weather tight, but it might be watertight.
Well, we'll just hope for a mild winter and they should be really in great shape.
Running about 2 weeks ahead of time, if I recall.
Yep, they are.
Yeah, I'll just figure out.
If I got this right, that the state pays their share, this 50 million you talked about, Alan, 10 months after the building gets turned over? Is it lag there?
No,
It's ongoing.
no, you basically, you're submitting bills and they review the bills and make sure what's covered and what's not covered under their rules.
All right,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
The reimbursement is ongoing, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no lag there.
No,
Correct.
but the town basically borrows the 90 million is how it works. And
Yeah, you know
we see what we end up with.
That part, because I'm gonna get from here to
Yeah, John will be borrowing, but he'll only borrow as needed and has a max of 90. We
Okay.
don't anticipate getting anywhere near that, fortunately.
Oh, all right, well then call me.
The
in the
original
morning where you are.
bill, they
along the line.
estimated tax bill that they
Okay.
estimated
We'll
the
figure it out.
reduced percentage, I think we're borrowing
Okay,
0.7.
bye-bye.
That lessens the cost as well as the $11 million we don't have to borrow. So the overall cost to the taxpayer for the override will be less than originally anticipated.
Yeah, for the debt exclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good work.
Yeah, so, there's some rays of sunshine, but doesn't necessarily mean we're going to profit with it. Just get a better tan.
Tan is nice.
The only other thing I have, gentlemen, is I think I sent everybody the discriminatory harassment policy of the town. I've already gotten the writing back from Stuart. Glenn, I got something back from you. I'm not sure what it was a printout of your signature. And I think they
It's
want.
the PDF file that they sent. You sign it. So I sent you the signed copy.
Yes. And I appreciate, if you don't have it, just let me know. I'll resend it. And,
I mailed mine to the woman that's supposed to receive them.
okay.
Well, they'll get that next January. Along with your vote.
Yeah, the other day I was in town, Michelle was coming through with these boxes full of ballots, I guess, to be mailed out.
Yeah.
Not mine today.
6,000.
Yes,
We got
I
ours.
got mine too.
I'm going to walk in. I'll be early, but I'm going to walk in. I'm a traditionalist.
So on the harassment stuff, if anyone needs training how to harass people, call me.
When you have an experienced volunteer, my golly.
I do training.
He's
Anything
very
else?
good, very good at harassment.
I love the comments from the bleacher seats, Alan.
Well, you know, she said the word harassing, not
Is she harassing you?
as always, you know how it works. That's why I have that bed upstairs in the garage ready at all times.
Anything else, gentlemen? There being nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
So
motion
moved.
to adjourn.
Motion-
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you very much. I'll see you. Have a happy Thanksgiving.